This is Underground Connections, an inside look at the underground music scene. Our guests for this episode are Jen Case, door manager for 6am, Dirty Epic, Incognito, Synthetik Minds, Work, Compound, and Reform, and Jose Pereyra, operations manager and promoter for Dirty Epic, Compound, and Reform. We discuss why underground events have passwords, what dancers can do to improve a party, and why hiring security is non-negotiable. Here we go. Okay, so today's episode is dedicated to Stephen Kraft, who passed recently. Someone who, even though I didn't know him very well, I could tell he was an integral part of the LA underground scene. I met him at this past edition of Reform, and I saw him like at least half a dozen times since, and he was always a very cheerful guy, like someone who you could kind of pick out in like a crowd of people. And so this one goes out to him. And thank you guys for being on. Like, we've looked so forward to today's episode. I know, Jen, you've been kind of keeping us at the edge of our seats with some exciting news you have to share with us. So what do you got for us?
Well, I'm Jen Case, the door manager, and I have a new promoter that I'll be working with. I'm
right on.
Door manager for the team Observe.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm announcing it for the first time here. No one else knows but Mo.
We're
Drumsell, so.
We're
Very
very grateful
Thank you.
and honored to be the first to hear this news, and like we wish you like the best in this new like leg of your adventures.
Thank you so much.
So.
I'm really excited. It's something I've been wanting for quite some time. We just had an amazing summer edition of Observe, and it's like, now's the time to ask. So
That was a great party, by
it
the
was
way.
great. It was Chef's Kiss event.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
super grateful. I'm proud.
it's really cool to see people like take things to another level that you couldn't really like imagine yourself. Like when I saw the teaser trailers on that party,
Mhm.
like I was like, wow, like this is like an event where you go and you get your mind blown. Like
they're highly curated events. They happen twice a year in LA, and then we have our Detroit edition. So I mean, everything is curated. The visuals, lighting, artists, sound. I mean, it's, they put so much into each one because it's only twice a year. So
right.
they're very, very special, and I'm super proud to be part of the team.
Yeah, and the visual part, I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of
mind-blowing.
it, you got to give credit to like Octaform. I mean,
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
guy has been, he's a maniac when it comes to, some of those visuals. So from the few times that I worked, at the Observe parties, you could tell like, the effort that he puts into it and curate, something that makes the show even special. So
Mhm. Yeah, and like once we released that teaser, the pre-sales just shot.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I
So
bet.
All right. Well, I have a question for you guys. That
Yeah.
being said, what was your introduction into the scene, and how'd you become involved with your respective organizations?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, when it comes to just, the electronic music scene,
Mhm.
for instance, for me, it started kind of going back to like 2013.
Mhm.
I was actually kind of a street promoter for Q Dance, which is, all hardstyle,
Oh, right.
hardcore collective.
Mhm.
When they were trying to, make their presence here in LA, I was making trips from my hometown, which is in Santa Maria.
Mhm.
So I'll drive 3 hours, do some promotion for them, help them curate the shows. And then from there on forward, flash forward to like 2021. I was just growing through IG, and I've always wanted to, be part of, the underground community because I love techno so much.
Yeah.
And I saw, an IG post from Andrew at Dirty Epic. They're saying, "Hey, we're looking for volunteers. Anybody who's interested, reach out." So I DM'd him. He gave me some information if I wanted to give it a try. So I'm like, why not? So it was like in June, where I did my first show as a volunteer. It was a Stacy Pulling show. It was freaking phenomenal. It was a good party overall. And then from there on, I just kept on working at it and worked my way up.
Mhm.
And currently right now, I am the operations manager for Dirty Epic, and looking to, build, climb up even higher and to become, a partner, kind of like an equal to Andrew. So,
Mhm.
so that's where I'm at right now. So
Mhm.
it's been a journey so far.
Sounds like it.
Do you mean in the scene as far as like an attendee or professionally?
Yeah, well,
or-
kind of maybe like even briefly just tell us like, yeah, what was like the first like memorable event that you attended within like the music scene, and then
Oh man, I've been raving for decades.
okay, so
So it's a little bit of a blur now,
Uh.
but I mean, I guess professionally, I've been working in the scene for 15 years.
Mhm.
My industry experience was as Beatport account manager at Warner
Okay.
Music Group. So I worked there for 3 years, and then in the event space, I've been working in it for 6.5 years, and working doors. And a friend of mine got me into it, and then more clubs like Lot 613. I was
Okay.
working there a ton. I worked with Marcus Wyatt with his deep events.
Oh, nice.
And then Tommy Seo, we talk about him a lot. He introduced me to Gia. And so that's where going into the undergrounds really started. That was about 5.5 years ago. So I've been working the undergrounds ever since. So
Yeah, and that kind of like hammers in a point that we often talk about on this podcast, which is like how important like connections are in the underground scene. Because if you want to get in, sometimes you need someone to vouch for you.
Yeah.
Because like accountability is so important, trustworthiness and reliability are so important that like you got to have a friend who is there and says like, hey, this is your person right here. Like give him something to do and like give him a chance.
honestly, everything I've gotten in professionally in the scene, it's someone I know, you know? So in when I worked at Warner, I knew somebody, and then like Tommy got me into it. And previous to that, like my friend got me into it. So yeah, they vouched for me and thought I'd do well. So yeah.
Can you tell us if someone wants to be more involved in the scene as a volunteer, how can they get started?
I mean, for one, it's just reaching out. I mean, if there's a collective that you like, based on the artists that we book, never hurts to, shoot a DM to the Instagram page, because that's where we, do most of our posts on a frequent basis. And from there on, we just get some general information. I'll reach out and then kind of give, a basis of, what the volunteer program is, where, eventually if there's opportunity based on performance, how dedicated you are, then, we could talk about, going up in the ranks. So we have a good pool, but there's always, room to make the family bigger, because as we all know, more and more shows are happening more frequent.
Of course.
Yeah.
So to be able to, run the shows with enough staffing without burning the current staff, it's always nice to, have extra people that you can rely on. And, it has its perks, being a volunteer, me, going through that process as well. It has a lot of perks as well. And, it could pay off in the long run.
Yeah, and volunteers are so important. We couldn't do these without the volunteers. I mean, there's no way, there's not enough staff to do it. So we have, a large volunteer pool, and they're also our flyer team.
Yep.
For 6 a.m. Synthetic Minds work, the collective, I'm going to talk for Tommy right now. You're going to reach out to Tommy Seo, and there's an application process that you have to go through, and he reviews them, and then he'll reach out to you if he's interested. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Could you both get into like the duties that you currently have?
Yeah. You want to go first?
Sure. I'm the door manager, and as door manager, I run the front of the house of the event. So if I don't have an operations manager or a promoter on site at the front of the house, I'm there to, I'm in charge of security, and I'm also making sure everything runs smoothly at the door. So I scan pre-sale tickets. I manage the guest list. I'm the cashier they're called walk-ups. Those are the people who come off the street.
Right.
And so I just make sure everything runs smoothly at the door. And I staff our events, and I run a volunteer program where I train potential door staff. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
On the note of people like who are walk-ups, can you kind of explain like how having a password for an event kind of fits into this puzzle?
So basically, if you don't have a pre-sale ticket and you're a walk-up, you need to, it's very ravey and underground. You need to know someone or be in the know to have have the password to be able to get through security. So when you see security outside of the gates of the event, they're going to pat you down. We want a very safe event.
Right.
They're looking for weapons, and they do find them at our events, So they're so important and very, very important. So, and then you're going to tell them the password. And so that's what the password is about. If you don't know the password, you don't know the promoters or the names, or you don't have a pre-sale, we're not going to let you in. It is a private event.
Yeah.
So,
And like, what would you say is like the hesitation with letting someone in who doesn't have the password?
it just means that
They don't really know what's
they
going
don't know
on.
where they're going. You just
Okay.
can't let anybody in. Again, it is a
Okay.
private event.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of risks that go behind it.
yeah, absolutely.
And you know, just the community.
Right.
If you're a part of the techno community, then you obviously will find out how to find that password. You don't want to get those, those tech house bros, just trying to get in, and they could have ruined the event, and because of the way that they behave. Granted, there's other people that could be a little bit rowdy, and get a little too wild there, but for the most part, in the last couple of shows, it hasn't been really chaotic, and I think a lot of it has to do with having a password in place,
Right on.
because the people that So, I mean, it's not uncommon to see regulars like yourselves, that come to our shows on the regular.
Yeah.
So, it's kind
I
of.
do want to add one thing. If you're so the password that just gets you through security outside. It doesn't mean you get into the event for free. I get that at every event that I work. We never have free events.
Yeah.
So that just gets you through security. It doesn't mean free entry.
Right,
So
right.
I really want to.
Also, I don't win a prize then.
Yeah, and also definitely on a note of like having security guards there. Like I've been to some events in like the last year or so that don't really have security or a pat down, and that always makes me feel really uneasy because like, especially in light of what recently happened like in NorCal with Beyond Wonderland, like organizers have like a very important responsibility to make sure every attendee is safe, and it's just like not a great feeling to walk into somewhere and not be patted down.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, and I'll talk to them at the night. Oh yeah, we found a knife, we found a gun, and they are so important security. They come at a premium rate, but they are worth every single penny.
Yeah.
And I work probably closer with security than anybody else because I'm upfront with them. So I have a very tight relationship with them, and they keep me safe.
Yeah.
And they keep all our guests safe that come in. Yeah. They're so important. So, and Stephen Kraft was security.
Yeah.
He used to work with me. So for 3.5 years we worked together. So losing him was such a great loss.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
No. Jose?
Yeah.
Speak on your duties.
For my part, I mean, as an operations manager, you do a plethora of things. One is, get your staff for what is operations. Hire your flyering team. So if there's any outdoor events or active events that's happening, or even at the clubs, we send out people to gather more people to, join the party, because, the more the merrier.
Right.
On top of that, making sure you get all the vendors, of course, talking to security as well. Based on the number of people that you expect to be at the party, you have to, understand how many security guards are needed per 100, for example.
Yeah.
So that way we make sure we have enough coverage. So if something were to happen, at least we're fully covered, rather than be undercovered. That could be a big no-no or pretty bad.
Right.
On top of that, being able to get with the other vendors. So the porta potties, the setup, all that stuff. The inventory from time to time, I'll get involved as well. When it comes to more of the audio and visual, that would be more of like an Andrew thing. But who knows, in the long run, maybe that's something I will be handling as well.
Right.
And then from there on, also, curate some social media content as well. So I myself, have my own IG page.
Yeah.
And I also help out Andrew as well with some of his content, mostly more on like, the memes, the funny content as well. So that's some of the things that I usually do. And then one other thing that I forgot, the advancing as well. What the advancing is pretty much the logistics of, with the artist, making sure, the type of equipment that they need for the show, the hotel, the hospitality, what they want as a writer, if they want to have something for dinner, we have to look up, what restaurants, making sure that, I could accommodate that, that's something that they cannot eat, like for allergy purposes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then as well, like the logistics, picking them up, dropping them off, being able to coordinate all that prior to the show and even post show as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that part. Actually,
Mhm.
what does managing artists like that look like tour managing? And are there any challenges that you come across, and what might they be?
I mean, I think the challenging part is just being able to figure out who's available to pick somebody up, drop them off. In the few times that I've been able to do the advancing for artists, nobody has been, for example, being very critical or very so it's been a pretty nice experience so far. I mean, the only one thing is time management, being able to get that all done prior to the show, because you don't want to do it 1 week prior, because if they're working with an agency, they already want to have everything listed, so that way they know what's happening, so that way they have a peace of mind. But as far as being handling artists themselves, I mean, it's been pretty fun, having those interactions, backstage, or even when I pick them up or drop them off at the airport. It's been really cool. I've had some really, fun experiences. One that really, stands out was picking and dropping off Josh Wink.
Okay.
Nice. So I was able to, have a really nice conversation, talk
He's
personal
the nicest guy.
He is. He's very,
so
very nice.
sweet.
Yeah. So that's been one of my favorite artists to, spend time with. There's so many others as well that I've enjoyed talking to, but Josh Wink so far is the one that stands out, and I'm looking forward to his return in August. So
Yeah,
that's going to be a really fun show.
Yeah,
so
all right, yeah, that one's a collab with We Own the Night. Right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, that's great. I love seeing like promoters come together that you don't always see do collabs, because it's interesting to see how the vision comes when. Like how it combines to create something like a unique experience like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I like to work with other promoters and see how they work and how they function, and it's good to get to know them as well. So yeah.
And I think we're in a unique situation here in LA personally. In the 2 years that I'm part of this whole scene. Just hearing from stories that if promoters like in the Midwest or in the East Coast, they could be pretty cutthroat. Because they want to be the party of the night, and compared to here where you're having 8-9 parties happening simultaneously, and nobody's calling the cops on each other. So it's a very fortunate situation that we're in. So being able
to not be that way.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Exactly.
they would call the cops on each other. Like, I'm aging myself, but like 15 years ago, it was really bad. So yeah, like. Off of what you said, like it is a collaborative effort with all the promoters, and it's so great to see for someone who's been in the scene forever.
Yeah, but in the most recent times, it's been very unique for sure.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings me to this question, and if it's like a little too abstract, like like forgive me, but I know Jen, like you have roles with a lot of different promoters, parties which I've also all been to, but. Would you say there's a way to kind of describe and distinguish each particular party from the other? Or is it kind of just a vibe that you have to go and feel out?
It's, it depends on the artist, the headlining artist, that they really create the vibe, what type of music. I mean, for 6 a.m. Synthetic Minds, Dirty Epic, a little more hard techno. And I'm the door manager for Incognito also. And they have a gamut of types of genres that they come in, so it's fun to work with them because I might work like a house night, or they bring in all types of artists. So
and do you think like the artist kind of brings the crowd and changes like the vibe of the crowd in its own ways too?
Absolutely. It depends on the artist, I think.
It's cool to kind of step back and observe like these trends that we have in music, and like especially like let's say we could divide things into pre-COVID and post-COVID too, because
for sure it's changed
that
a lot.
brought a lot of changes.
Yeah. I mean, what's great, I've noticed pre-COVID most of the artists were males, and afterwards there's a lot of female artists, and I'm so proud of that because I was not happy about that. So they're being more welcoming to female artists, and I'm seeing that a lot, and it's great.
Yeah, that's one thing I've kind of picked up on in having conversations with promoters is like they'll kind of mention, well, we have X for the headliner, we need X for the X gender for the supporting acts, and vice versa. And it's great to see like that attention is being paid to that kind of representation,
and also the LGBTQ community and non-binary. I mean, it's all inclusive now, and I'm so happy to see that finally.
Yeah, I mean, you were part of a lineup too with two headlining women was Claire Couvet and Lucinda.
Yeah,
I mean, that was a great party too.
And we all happen to have long hair, and so
yeah,
seeing that being as one of the angles for marketing, you guys always got to take a creative angle to kind of like stick out from everyone else.
Absolutely.
And Incognito for Pride weekend, we had an LGBTQ night with he, she, they, and it was phenomenal. And we collabed with Nightbreed, so you know it was a fun crowd.
Even the Bears in Space after party for that one was an experience too, because I had to manage that party. So collaborating with Bears in Space with their staff, you know, it was a pretty unique experience.
That was our house
getting
night.
to know each other, and it was all house night with Optimo Espacio, which I mean that party itself, it was wild. So being able to see that and you know how they party and how they enjoy the night, it was a cool experience. And I don't mind, you know, maybe I will go to another Bears in Space party, you know, as an attendee.
You
know, rather than working, because I'm just, you know, making sure that everything's running perfectly, because it could get pretty wild in there. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, no, Bears in Space definitely has a very special brand, I feel. Like you go to their party, like the vibes are there. Like, like you get all the bells and whistles, dancers, performers, and like it's just like very consistent with like every event that they do.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And they definitely have a following for sure,
yeah,
which is great.
On the note of events, I kind of want to ask about like the stamping and no re-entry policies.
Right.
I mean, one would think like, why are you stamping our hands if we can't go in and out anyways? So can you kind of explain how these two like come together?
Sure. So you're going to see me at the front, inside your right wrist. I'm always stamping the inside of the right wrist. So the door gets really congested because I work very busy doors. So security, I call my bodyguard Mota. He's with me at all times. He's going to lick the inside of your right wrist. That's just to get you in and get you through him. And I also want to mention, you're not in the venue until you go through Mota, my security guard. You're still outside the venue. Like I'm working outside the venue. You're in once you go through him. And so that's just to get you in the venue. And the no ins and outs policy, it's true for every underground. Security, they search you outside, and if you go out, they're gonna have to search you again. And I don't know what you're doing out there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, so please, you know, please come in with everything. I've heard of everything. Have your phone charged, have your wallet, have your inhaler, have your feminine products, like, you know, please have everything when you come in because I can't let you out. I mean, it's just, you know, and I don't know what you're doing out there, and for you to come back in.
Yeah.
And
things
so
don't add up.
Yeah, it does. And you know, safety is absolute paramount.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing at our events that I care about most is people's safety. So.
Yeah, and a lot of people, you know, by nature, of course, they've probably gone to a festival. Festivals as well, they do no re-entries as well for that same reason. So treat the underground as a...
I don't understand why they think that it's the stamping thing. That's what really messes them up. But I have a stamp. Like, no, so thank you for letting me clarify that.
No, of course.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, I want to ask what show day looks like.
So show day. Okay. So... first things first, you know, I send the text blast to the entire staff, letting them know the address of the venue and the call time for the ones that are going to be doing operations during the night. So usually it's 2 hours before the show starts. And what we do is, you know, set up the barricades for the queue line for Jen, set up the barricades for the stage as well, because we don't want people to be wandering, you know, in backstage with the DJ that could, you know, cause a disturbance. Making sure the bar and the inventory gets all squared away and settled, so that way they're ready to go come showtime. And then we do usually a kind of like a pre-show, meeting. It's very brief. It's the usual routine of, hey, same rules apply as previously. Just for the ops team is check the trash cans, on a frequent basis. Make sure the porta potties are well taken care of, and the hand washing station, if there's if there are no paper towels, replenish that as well. And then simultaneously being able to make sure that all the party goers are having a good time and they're not belligerent or they're like too messed up where they need assistance. So I know with work and 6 a.m. they have the vibe team, so we kind of do that similarly, but we don't call it the vibe team with Dirty Epic, but when we collaborate with them, we're the vibe team, So we just want to make sure that, everything's running smoothly throughout the night. And then, as the show starts, I'll have my flyering team show up and then direct them where they need to go. Hand them the flyers, give them some pointers, what to say while they're out there flyering out in the streets. And then they come back and then I'll let them, hang out for the rest of the night. And then, we just run the show. Communication is very key. So we always have a WhatsApp group text between one separately for management and then one separately for ops team. So we just always stay in communication. So that way, if something were to happen, at least somebody will be vigilant of what's going on and then kind of help out and support wherever it's needed. There'll be off chances where we run out of things like ice, which is, now that summertime is here.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be frequent runs out there. So having that group text is very important because at any given moment, I will need, somebody to help me out and go do a run and then, have to be vigilant. So when they come back, we get the whole team, grab the ice and then bring it back inside. So yeah, so that's kind of like in a nutshell of what I do.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. A little bit more than me, but like, pre-event, I've got to make sure my lights, my card reader, my phone's charged, everything, my wristbands are in my door backpack, my stamps, everything's ready to go for the event. I'm for 6 a.m. for work. I'm slacking the promoters and Tommy all the time about, okay, what's the box office? What's the door rate?
Right.
How are what's going on with the guest list? And also I upload the guest list to Resident Advisor, which is how we manage our guest list, which is, so I'm able to see the full guest list prior to the event, which helps me a lot as manager. And I'm also contacting staff with the address and any last minute details for what they need for when they come to work at the door. So yeah,
I do want to say I had a couple of run-ins with you at events like sometimes, and you mentioned like, hey, I saw that you were going to be coming.
Yeah,
and, like,
I see everything.
Yeah, and
yeah, I have access, and thank God. Thank you, promoters, for letting me have the logins for everything, for pre-sales and for guest lists. So yeah, I see everybody who's coming in, and I do try to scan them. So if I have a busy door, I could just wave you in, Alex, and I don't have to, I just want to keep that door moving and keep people getting into the rave. So yeah, I do have access, and I see everybody's coming in.
Yeah,
so.
and I definitely admire that because like it's kind of a little extra to kind of keep an eye out for those, like it's going beyond what's expected of you to be able to just be like, oh, I know X, Y, and Z are going to be at the party today, even though they're just attendees, consumers, so it's just
it's not just, they're very important. They're the ones keeping us going.
Yeah.
They are my VIPs, and I try to treat them that way.
No,
so
for sure.
Yeah, they keep the community going.
And as far as like keeping the community going and vibes, like I have seen vibe hosts go around, and I really like that promoters incorporate that into the parties because it's just like a ball of good vibes walking around the party, and kind of like just keeping an eye out, making sure like let's say someone's like a new attendee and like they don't take like a no photo policy seriously, or they don't really like understand like some of these like not often discussed parts of the underground scene. Like the vibe host can kind of just step in and say like, hey, just so you know, this is how things run around here. These are things that we do to make sure that everyone continues to have like a good time when they come to our parties.
And it's also safety. You know, we if someone is having a difficult time, we make sure they have water, or they carry like little fruit things or whatever. So safety is a big concern as well, and also the no photo, no recording policy too. So
and then for those who aren't super familiar with it. What's kind of like the goal behind enforcing a no photo, no video policy at an event?
Well, to me personally, what I think is more because of it could be a nuisance when they want to try to record every like 10 seconds.
Mhm.
And then if they just, and you know, they're probably drunk or they're on something and they don't really know how they're setting up their phone.
Yeah.
And it could be an immediate flash.
Oh yeah.
And that could like, you know, piss people off around. Like, dude, what
Yeah.
the fuck? You know, like
Instant
that kind of
party
thing.
foul.
Yeah, it's a big party foul. So, you know, we kindly tell them, you know, don't do it, you know, because it kind of ruins the vibe. And then other times it's, you know, people are trying to be there to be themselves. You know,
Yeah.
that's a safe space for them to, you know, open up to however they feel. You know, there's people that, you know, it's still kind of hidden to, you know, their true identity is.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And,
It's a
you
good
know,
point.
so you don't want to, you know, ridicule them in any way. And of course, you know, there's some people that obviously with festivals, you see people that are like on ecstasy and they're all messed up.
Mhm.
And, you know, having people record them while they're there, like it kind of gets bad because you don't know who they work for and stuff like that. And you know, the internet kind of spreads. And
yeah.
even similar to, I saw an article a while back with Ministry of Sound.
Okay.
They actually banned somebody for life. Because he was recording somebody that was like, you know, kind of messed up
Yeah.
at their party.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
So,
Yeah.
so you know, that's
Good for
kind of
them.
it's good for them.
Absolutely.
So you know, so it kind of holds true to you know why we do that no phone policy.
Yeah.
It's you know keep the memories there in your mind,
Yeah.
have a good time.
Yeah.
If you want to relive them, we always have a photographer on site, and
Yeah, we hire professional photographers
Exactly.
for shooting.
Yeah.
And I do want to add to that, like, don't be on your phone. Like,
Yeah.
be in the experience and live it. Like, we're
Yeah.
on our phones enough.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
put your phone away and enjoy the music and dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and another reason, like, for privacy reasons, like, I'll have people ask, well, can I, and, you know, outside of the actual building, you know, we have like a porta potty smoking area. Can I take selfies? No, because if someone's in the background, maybe
Yeah.
they don't want to get photographed.
yeah.
I don't want to get photographed.
Yeah.
So
Private
just
event, right? It's
private
not public.
event.
You
Yeah.
don't get to take pictures of whatever.
exactly.
you want.
So I mean, those are really the two main reasons why. And like the biggest undergrounds and clubs, techno in Europe, there's none of that happening.
Yep.
Berghain, for instance, if you have your phone in your hand, they take your phone.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is pretty standard in Europe, and people. I mean, a lot of times people are like, "Oh, I love that," and other times we get pushed back. But it's just standard now. No phone, no recording. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the only one club that had a no phone policy was Output, and then they're no longer here. But I remember one time I went into Output, same thing, no phone policy whatsoever.
Yeah,
so.
it's standard at our events now.
Yeah.
Incognito doesn't enforce it. Neither does Observe.
Mhm.
But you know, we appreciate you still not being on your phone.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
enjoy the music and dance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I always like to say the dance floors for dancing.
yeah,
Mhm.
And that doesn't only mean no photos or videos, but also let's try like not to talk too much on the dance floor, because like what's the point of us yelling in each other's ears to
Yeah.
have like a half-assed
Right.
conversation?
you could just go outside the building
Yeah.
and talk out there for
Yeah.
a second. You know,
If it's that important, you'll go outside, and it's never that important, you know, like
no, right?
yeah, just go up to someone, say hello, how are you, and that should be the end of it. It should be
Yeah.
like a 5-10 second thing, like not a bunch of back and forth, because then there's people behind you who are also trying to enjoy the party too,
Absolutely.
and it's just a huge distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having your boy tell you, I got a new business venture. You want to jump in?
Yeah. How many good ideas do people have on the dance
Seriously,
floor while they're
For
3
some
or
odd
4
reason, there's like
drinks in?
thousands.
Yeah, exactly. They're probably not the most sober person you want to talk to.
Yeah.
So
We should
it's
open
like-
a bar, bro.
Well, with all that being said, what are some things you do to ensure smooth operation?
I'll let you go.
Oh. I think to me personally, it's just the communication thing. I think that's pretty vital. As long as communication's on point and everybody's being responsive, to me, that's a good telltale that we're going to have a good party. It's when, you know, when people are being unresponsive, that's where it gets kind of worrisome, because if something were to happen and you need help and the help is not there, then you're like, what I got to do? And I know there's some, at certain occasions, some people, you know, and no blame to them. They don't know what to do. They don't know when to come up with a solution, even though we tell them, you know, if something were to happen, you know, make an executive decision that, you know, that will work best. But situations are not always the same. So by having that, that link, that communication aspect is what really helps, the party run perfectly. So as long as everybody's, talking, making sure we're okay, I need help, come through. And then, that's, to me, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on WhatsApp with the promoters and the ops managers. And so, if I need anything, Jose's right there, Tommy's right there, or a promoter. So that's, they're at my beck and call immediately. They're very supportive too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think one moment where I felt that when there was no fault to anybody, was a lack of communication. It was one of the first compound of this year. There was actually a fight that broke out like in the front of the stage.
Oh, I remember that.
And
that was our '90s night. That was a fun.
It was a great part.
It was fun.
With the advent, I was luckily I was front of the stage. And
90s techno. I want to clarify. Not grunge.
And I had my back towards like the crowd, but then as soon as I turned around, I just saw just a gap open up. Like, what the hell's going up?
Right.
And then fight just happened, and I couldn't text anybody because the fight's there. So I'm like there to break it up. Yeah.
And that's very rare. We have fights
very
at
rare
our events.
Yeah,
so it's always extremely surprising.
Yeah.
Like at this last reform, I was working the afters. A fight happened right in front of me at the door with my security guard, and it's just like, come on, like they're trying to rush the door, and it's like that's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
you're gonna get hurt if you go against my mota.
Yeah, like you see a circle open up on the dance floor, you're hoping it's like a breakdance circle.
Yeah. Nope,
it's a fight.
It's a dance off. Yeah,
they're breaking something to right arms.
Breaking arms.
Kind of want to take a little change of pace here to hone in on like the calendars that are coming up with, with some of the organizers that you work with.
Yeah.
So our closest event around the corner would be Devious One all night long, right?
Mm-hmm.
Devious Ones.
That's a work event. Yeah, with Dirty Epic. Yeah.
Yeah, and last year I remember doing a bit of promo on Devious One's Wall Sound Night, and
how amazing was that?
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, we sold out on that, and we had. I'm not kidding. People from all over the world came to that event. It was. I tell people like if there's ever a wall of sound, you don't miss it. And that's
I fell asleep to that one.
What? I know. I was actually talking to someone recently about Devious One in our upcoming event. And I'm like, did you go to the wall of sound? I'm like no. I'm like, that's definitely do not miss wall of sound event. So
yeah, no. And now with the added spin of it being Devious One all night long, it's not an event that you want to miss, because seeing an artist play all night long is really like
rare.
You're getting the whole package.
Yeah, you're getting like a full
12-course meal.
Yeah.
They get to like show a side of themselves at the start of the night to the people who are dedicated enough to come when doors open, and then you get the peak time, and then you kind of get like, I don't know, the surprise at the end of like, how are they gonna like play the last 1 or 2 hours of their set. So it's just like the best example of having a journey and adventure.
Yeah, I was just about to say experience. A journey. They take you on a journey, and it's a proper set. It's not an hour and a half or a couple hours, and it's and I know they spend so much time on curating that set. So
7-8 hours. I mean, it's not
very special.
It's nothing to frown upon. I mean, that's a
special.
lot of work and a lot of dedication that they put into that. So
and I love that we do that with artists. You know, you'll get them all night long. It's great.
Yeah, no, and like I know I heard Carl Cox prepares like double the amount of music for like, how long his set's gonna be.
Yeah.
So let's just say if Devious One's playing 8 hours, like at the minimum, he'd probably have like 16 hours of music, if not more, to make sure that like there's a lot of turns he can take during that set to take the audience in whatever direction.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy too.
Yeah,
he's really cool.
That crowd control is very important. So you got to know, what proper tunes to be playing at any given moment. So I mean, it's crazy. I don't know. I'd be able to do that, but
yeah. And coming up after that, like another highlight, and if I'm not mistaken, a first time for LA is we're getting our first Reform Presents night with Charlie Sparks, DLV, and Casca on the 22nd.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know you guys haven't really been promoting it much, but when I last checked, it's already last call for tickets.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, hey, like if you didn't already know about them, like here's your last chance, get the tickets in because
Yeah.
like you're not gonna
Because when
wanna
we are
miss this night.
sold out, we are sold out.
Yeah.
And I have to turn people away at the door, and they're not very happy with me. So,
Yeah.
and you know, we don't accept walk-ups for that because, you know, we have a limit capacity for safety reasons, fire hazards, etc. So, but yeah, Charlie Sparks on the 22nd, that will sell out. So, probably when this airs, it will be sold out. So,
So get your tickets now.
yeah,
out.
that's definitely
ResidentAdvisor.com.
a big one. So,
Yeah, I'm also excited to see Casca on the lineup, like a close friend of mine, because
yeah,
she's been killing it, and
yeah.
I know she admires Charlie Sparks as well.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
And so it's great to see Reform give another performer a chance who hasn't been on one of their lineups.
Mhm. She comes to a lot of our events too, which I appreciate her support. Yeah.
And after that, we have a party that is a collab between Incognito and TechnoFam LA, which is Sound On, Vibe On.
Yeah.
I went to their debut party just a couple of weeks ago, and if it was while supplies last, RSVP and you get it for free.
Mhm.
And I was like really taken aback by like the debut of this party, because a little shame to say, but when I was younger, if I saw a free party, I thought it would be kind of lame. You know, like if it's that good, why aren't you charging money for it?
Right.
But if I was younger and came to this party, I would have just been blown away, because like it was pretty much going to a full production. It is a full production party, and like people filled it up so early in the night, like, and you got to see acts that just like are the cream of the crop in the city. So that's another one coming up. And kind of another one that sticks up for me is Reform presents Perk and Henry Brooks.
Yeah.
Boat party.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that. I'm excited for all of them, but I'm really excited.
Yeah. I mean, that sticks out because of the venue, right? So it's going to be on the Catalina King cruise ship.
Yep.
I'm going to go my seller's hat for that one.
Yeah, I'm working that. I talked to Andrew Soto, the promoter, one of them he's promoter for Dirty Epic. And I talked to him yesterday. I'm like, I'm going to get on that boat. He's like, yeah, you're working there. I'm like, all right. So and I'm excited for that because it's something different. I mean, I love our warehouses, but I love that we're doing different things like that boat party. And then of course our Reform Festival in September starts at 5. So it's essentially a day party and goes till maybe midnight or 1. Yeah. So like, I'm kind of into like the day things, boat parties, anything kind of different, but I still love my warehouses. Yeah. But like change it up a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good to see that promoters, when they get into that state where they're comfortable enough to take a risk with an event, because like it's like all this hard work pays off into doing these events that we know that people will come to, and now we kind of want to show people like, hey, hard techno on a boat, you know, like how often is this done?
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's very rare. I mean, usually when I see boat parties, it's like Deep House or something like that.
Yeah, but Detroit, they do boat parties too. Yeah.
But LA personally, I mean,
oh no, I've never. This is like first I've heard of.
Exactly.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, and it's very limited, but what I can tell you is that
it's gonna sell out. 100. It's like we're almost there.
Last I checked, it was like the last 4 tickets left.
Oh wow! Okay.
But I will say that we're looking into doing another boat party in October.
That's right.
So just keep an eye. Okay. I'm not gonna say who.
Beginning October.
Yeah. So just keep your eyes peeled.
Another one.
For any
so if you missed this one, there's one in October.
Yep.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else?
No.
Well, I have a deep question for you guys.
How deep?
Real deep.
Okay.
Ocean deep.
Okay.
No.
Oh wow.
How do you define success? What is success?
Well, for me, as far as like event space, like I'm gonna go back to, but Observe was just like a beautiful like chef's kiss event, like not one issue. And I was alone at the door, and I'm not gonna say how many people came. There were a lot. Not one issue. And I have issues every time at the door, but it was just a seamless night, you know, and Mo and David and Dean, the promoters, were happy. 6 a.m. was happy. 6 a.m. was supporting, as well as Dirty Epic. Like everybody was just really happy with the turnout, as well as the attendees. Yeah. So when it's like a seamless night, no issues, it's great.
Yeah. I would think that, a successful night is, no big issues happening at any given moment. The fact that no first responders were being called down on the scene or cops, showing up.
Oh yeah, that's
you hate, seeing
That
that
will
and to break
kill
up the
an
party. Exactly. It's a big,
yeah,
killer.
that will kill it.
So that's, a good telltale sign. And like I said, just going back to the communication thing, as long as that happens, that will result into success. And lately, we've been pretty happy with, how the shows end, even though there's, there'll be some rough patches.
Yeah.
But we've been able to figure it out and kind of work things through, and then, just continue partying till 6 a.m. and kick everybody out.
Yeah. Jen, on that note, what are some difficult situations you encounter when checking in guests or managing the door?
Okay. I've been waiting for this one. It's like, how much time do we have? But I'll keep it brief. As far as again, there's three roles that I do. It's checking in pre-sales, cashier for walk-ups, and then guest list. So checking in pre-sales, them not knowing the app, not having the QR code out, having their phone dead. So that's just, then I can look them up, search them manually, but that slows down my door. If I have a line, I'm like, you got to stand to the side. I got to keep it moving. I got get the ravers in, so that's an issue. Guest list, I've come across some entitled people to say, but I got to keep it cool, and so that's kind of that's difficult with rude people, but that's fine. I have patience.
Yeah.
And then just the walk-ups. So it's been really difficult lately. People are coming after day festivals.
Okay.
They're not sober. Or they're coming from Hollywood, from clubs, and they don't know where they are.
Yeah.
And so they give me issues. They try to hustle me at the door.
Okay.
And if you hustle me, that's not it's not a good thing. Yeah. Actually, one of my promoters said, I asked him, I'm like, if someone tries to hustle me, can I just raise the door rate by $5? If they go low, I go high. And he's like, yeah, I've never done that before, but I got approval. I got approval.
You got the green light, Jen.
So,
do it.
Yeah. So just in each of those areas, I mean, there are issues in each of them, but it just takes a lot of patience working the door. Yeah. You have to be thick-skinned. One of my friends asked me, she's like, do you just go home and scream into a pillow? I'm like, no, it's cool. You just got to let it brush off your shoulder. So I actually love it. I love the door.
Okay.
So
Amazing.
Do you get to enjoy the festival?
I call it my hour of fun.
Yeah.
I'm off before we close. And, if you're at my event, you'll see me running around, dancing with people, chatting with people outside.
Yeah, no, recently at a couple, I've been able to see you at party hour.
I'm talking your ear off.
Yeah, and it's a night and day difference. Walking up to you, I can tell the weight is lifted.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just, I try to be personable at the door, but if I have a line, I just want to get you in. And sometimes I'll talk to people. I'm like, I'm sorry if I was rude to you at the door. It's just, but when I'm off, it's a different Jen, different person.
Yeah.
So, So I have my hour of fun, and that's what I get. That's enough for me.
Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah, I want to ask you, Jose, so you're an admin for the Dirty Epic Instagram page. How did you come into the role of posting controversial memes?
I mean, I wouldn't say controversial, but I mean, I just like
They're
to post.
a little risque.
They could be a little risque.
Sensational.
A little sensational,
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's just because of my personality. But at the same time, I try to keep it, PG 13-ish.
Okay.
There are some, things that are no, based on, what Andrew tells me not to post. So, so I play along those lines. But, to me, me being a person that loves comedy.
Yeah.
And I like to laugh at myself, because that's just who I am.
Of course.
And it's nice to be, to humble yourself, and, it's nice to, laugh things out. And so, I try to, make posts that in hopes of people will laugh and be like, oh yeah, that's so true. That's so me kind of thing. And I do notice, a lot of people that react that way.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, there's times where, where some people take offense, like, how can you be like that? Like, I'm gonna follow. Like, well, okay, well, you're you know, a little being a stickler right now. Like, relax.
Here for the wrong reason.
Yeah, or they try to tag one of their artists, like for example, like John Summit. Sometimes, like they're like, oh, look, they're making fun of you. Like, come on, relax. Like, but I mean, I'm not trying to be controversial, but just have some fun with it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some other social media pages that are more risque than me, so I try to keep it kind of borderline friendly.
And did you bring kind of this idea of incorporating memes into to the table, or was it a joint idea? Or
I mean, it's been a thing even before me. It's just the frequency was a lot less.
Okay.
We've noticed that we tend to get a little bit more engagement when there's some funny content that is tied to the page. We don't want to try to inundate it with memes. We don't want to be the meme page. But just put some one in during the daytime, and then I like to say like the techno memes after dark. I put something at night, so that's where it's a little bit more of the risque. Kind of I wouldn't say raunchy, but just kind of funny kind of content. So so it's nothing crazy to me, but that's my opinion.
Of course. I mean, I even me as a person who's kind of like not so big on memes, sometimes I'll scroll and I'll see one and it catches my eye and I'm like, are they talking about me? Because usually the first slide of the carousel is like one of like the best and most relatable memes, and then you're like, oh, I gotta see what the other 9 are about. And then you scroll and sometimes you look in the comments and someone's like, yep, number 3, number 4, number 7. Like,
so and I feel like the type of content that I post, it's relevant, it's funny, and I've seen posts people that will reply back. Like I've seen Stingray put some laughing emojis, even T1000 sometimes, and you'll see that, and if I see them laughing at that, then I'm doing something right.
Of course.
And mind you, I'm not a lot of the stuff that I post is not original, so I pull from other pages, and of course I give credit to them because they put in the effort of making those posts. So I like to try to keep it very relevant, but not very offensive to the people, just enough where they can laugh and chuckle, like, okay, that's kind of true. Kind of thing.
Do you have full control over like what you post, or do you like get approval beforehand?
At first I was getting approvals, but after an extended period of time, they kind of let me loose. So I've been able to make my own posts without having to show Andrew like, okay, is this cool or not? Because I already know after doing this so many times, like, okay, this is kind of friendly enough, good enough to make,
I call those executive decisions.
Exactly. So I make the executive decisions on those posts. So
nice. And when it comes to things like approval, like I know both of you train like new hires. Like what's the kind of way that you vet how trustworthy someone is and how you can kind of add on to the responsibilities that they have? Is it just like kind of playing it by ear and seeing like what they're doing?
Great question. I mean, you don't know. I mean, everybody will talk a lot of game. And they'll put on paper like, I did this, I was a promoter for that, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's the amount of commitment that you put towards being a volunteer. If we see it that you're totally there, you're not dicking around, then we see somebody that we feel like is trustworthy, and we keep them on and give them more responsibilities, so that way they can be more involved, and in the hopes that they could be more supportive in other means, whether it's in production or in other web designing or whatever it is that they're specialized in, then we could open those doors.
And also the volunteers aren't there for the party. We are working. It's very fun work, but sometimes they think it's party time, and it's not. We take our jobs pretty seriously.
Absolutely, yeah. Of course. It's business first, but at the same time, have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
In the beginning of the night, of course, you got to be on top of your A game. But when it comes to like 4 or 5 in the morning, okay,
not for my door staff.
I mean, for your door, that's different. But like as you start seeing like the crowd dwindle, like okay, now it's getting to that point where like, okay.
Well, now I can breathe a little bit. Yeah.
How do y'all manage stress, especially during a show?
Vodka Red Bulls. Seriously.
It's part of the communication. That's what I get from Jen. Vodka Red Bull, please.
I
like on it. I mean, for me, you just kind of have to give yourself some mental days off. Sometimes if on those weekends where we don't have a party, just kind of decompress, do what you got to do, any kind of wellness. For me, I try to stay disciplined by, going to the gym daily, well, at least 5 times during the week, because that kind of helps me, let loose or release any kind of stress or any kind of headaches that I'm dealing with. And for somebody in the past who's dealt with holding on to stress, or like even with depression, like I've noticed, things that would happen to my body were like, so once I noticed that, then it's like, okay, you got to take a step back, figure out what's going on and try to correct it. So to me, your mental health is it has to come first.
Oh,
No
it's
matter
so
what.
key, especially in our scene. Like mental, physical, emotional
Yeah.
health is very, very key.
And I just saw a video recently from a promoter in Chicago. He was talking about attendees that go to events. He says, a lot of the times, a lot of people go to shows to get to run away from their problems.
Right.
Yeah,
Try
it's,
not to-
it's escapism.
Yeah. I mean, you want escaping, from problems is fine from time to time, but using that as a crutch for everything, I mean,
Right.
that could become unhealthy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, so it's pretty nice that he delivered that message. So that way people will actually take care of, those internal problems.
Definitely.
So that way they could still go out and, have a blast, and that you're just there to actually have fun and be with
Yeah, and
friends
be-
and close ones.
Be dancing in the music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, definitely good to like kind of go to these events, give yourself some space and like take time for yourself and
Yep.
like clear your head, and then
Mhm.
it lets you kind of work hard and play hard, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
like you don't want to be having too much fun without also like balancing it out with
Absolutely.
keeping things sustainable in other areas of your
Right.
life as well.
Yeah, that's very important.
Very important.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate. Sorry, on mental health and wellness.
Yeah.
So,
100. Yeah.
100%.
definitely, if you're not okay, nothing around you will be okay.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
as long as you take care of yourself,
Mhm.
you'll be able to take care of others, especially if you're working these types of events.
Oh, of
And-
course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the promoters I work with, they kind of do checks on me, like, are you doing okay? And
Yeah.
like losing Steven Kraft hit me really hard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Marco Scalbazzini, promoter for Synthetic Minds work, and he checked on me, and I appreciate it. He's like, if you want to talk, if you want
Yeah.
to call, let me
Yeah.
know. And that means
That's lovely.
so
yeah.
much. Yeah.
Steve,
Amazing.
yeah, I know. From what I know, Steve, I mean, he's been security for over 10 years.
Mhm.
So,
He was my bodyguard
he was
for
a-
3.5 years.
Yep, and he was my bodyguard
my
for one.
mota.
So,
Wow.
being able to work with them and then having them, just come and party, it's very refreshing to him, realizing how special the community is. Because at first, he was like, I'm not into it, but then, people convinced him enough, and now, you're like, yeah, I'm here.
We
He
let him
showed
go
up.
as security because he kept leaving his post to go into the party. and so that's why, it's like, okay, you actually, and he, after he stopped working security, he was still at every one of my
Uh-huh,
events.
uh-huh.
So it's going to be a huge void not having him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. It feels really weird to not see him at my door anymore.
Yeah.
So
definitely will be missed for sure.
yeah, 100.
It's probably a good opportunity and a reminder to like for anyone who's listening, to if you have someone that you go to a lot of parties with and see at parties, it's always good to check up on them and like be appreciative of them.
Mhm.
Because sometimes like we go to parties and then we say bye and wait to see someone again. Like
yeah.
it's always a good opportunity, just kind of like strengthen those connections.
Yeah.
And if there's someone at a party who you see a lot and you haven't said hi to, like why not just reach out and like make a new friend? And
Mhm.
like you never know who
Definitely.
you'll meet. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
of course.
That's great.
Yeah. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
On the note of supporting each other, how can the listeners support you guys?
I mean, to me personally, just attend the shows. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the number one way you can kind of support us. Attending, it means a lot because you're there because of the community, and then two, because the passion of the music.
Yeah.
I know the promoters, put in a lot of hard work. As
They're
far
very
as
expensive as well.
as far as booking some of these artists. So to be able to have these special nights, I mean it means a lot. So that's one way that you could be involved, or if you want to be truly involved, to join a volunteer program, whether it's, work or Dirty Epic, and you be part of the community as well as, work in the underground scene. So
Yeah, I get a lot of people answering like, how can I support you? I want to volunteer.
Mhm.
And it's great. I'll direct them to the right places, but also supporting on social media,
Yep.
And another great way, like if someone is into electronic music, maybe it's not techno.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Introduce them to the music. Maybe not even bring them to the event, but introduce them to
Yeah.
the music at home.
Yep.
I care more about people listening to music. I mean, of course, come to our events, but
Yeah.
I want music people at my place.
Yeah.
I want them to know which artists are
Yeah.
coming to see, and I want true music heads at our events.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
you send a friend some music and they really like it, like they'll find their way.
yeah,
Like they'll come back to
definitely.
you. They'll say like, "Hey, like I like listening to it at home, but where can I listen to it in person?" And then that's where you
Right.
swoop in and
like my favorite thing, and I just had this, I think Monday night, I had a group of people like, this is our first underground. And I go nut. Like that's my favorite thing is
Yeah.
welcome them to the underground.
Yeah.
It's so amazing.
Yeah. It's cool as well to
It's so cool.
yeah. And then also too, it's cool to see with like some of, my close friends, finally coming to the underground as well.
Mhm.
They're passive, music, from like big room kind of thing. And I'm like, listen to some techno and here's some, some music I recommend you listening to it. And at first they get stubborn, and they're like not into it. And then next thing you know, like, this is my jam now. And then next thing you know,
Or if
they're
they come to an event and they're
Yep.
like, yeah, I'm really into it now.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
it's the event itself that gets them into it,
Yeah.
Maybe listening at home didn't hook them.
right.
Mhm.
But if they
Yeah.
come and
Yep.
experience it in the community
Of
and the
course.
camaraderie, then
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
with those,
maybe a little.
with that sound system that we put in
Oh,
at
I
the
know,
shows
right?
and the lights. So yeah,
Mhm.
it makes it just raises up the bar
Yeah.
when you're
of
actually there.
course.
Yeah,
Well-
it's definitely all about the music and the
Yes.
community.
Mhm.
That's what sets us apart from
Mhm.
other festivals that I've like attended and seen. But yeah, that concludes our interview
Oh,
session.
wow.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you
so much for
guys
coming
so
on.
much.
Thank
Well,
you.
appreciate having us here.
Is there
Yeah.
anything in particular that you want to plug that we haven't
Yeah.
already mentioned?
Well, I
or-
just haven't mentioned who I work for. So I'm the door manager for Compound
Mhm.
and the collectives Compound, Reform, Work. And out of those promoters, it's 6 a.m., Synthetic Minds, Dirty Epic, Incognito, and now Observe.
Right.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Super
Again.
excited. Thank
and
you.
then I'm Jose. You can find me on IG, the Tex-Mex, the operation manager for Dirty Epic,
Mhm.
as well as operations for Reform and Compound as well. Just want to give a shout out to my staff. Without them, it'd be clusterfuck sometimes. So having
Yeah.
them around, there's a lot to name, but from operations to bar to
Mhm.
everything. I thank them for their hard work and just continue pushing and just get better at it every day
Yeah.
and grow the family.
Okay. Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for what you do. We really appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Oh,
And
thank you.
we'll see you around.
Thank you
Yeah.
for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Thank
See you
you.
at the underground.
Keep raving.
See you.